Hey everyone, another episode of Javier in the Air. Why is it in the air? Because I don't know what's going to come up and I don't know what's going to go down. Today is a little bit of a different episode. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get anybody to record in time for an interview. So I am going to do a special extra edition of baking and beer. So I'm going to give you a little shout out on some of the things, some of the housekeeping items that I have for us, and then I'm gonna move straight into a orange cherry loaf that I made that was actually done keto slash paleo style, and then we're gonna come back and then we're gonna go straight into an old beer review from my time when I did the beer reviews, just by themselves, and I'll give you a little information about that. And then I'm gonna have my own beer here, and I'm gonna taste it for our pleasure, for our viewing pleasure. So I hope everyone's been good. I hope it's been a good week for them. Anything exciting? I hope it's been good. And so let's talk a little bit more about baking. So I'd like to try to get more people for baking and crafting on my show. I think that's been a big hit for everyone. I think everyone has enjoyed it. So definitely, if you are interested and you have a crafting business and you want to be interviewed by me and promote your items, feel free to send me a note either here on my YouTube channel or you can send me a direct message on Facebook. If you have my details for Facebook. So if not, drop it on the comments on YouTube, and I will certainly get back to you as soon as I can. So a couple of things. I am still looking for more people to do the pumpkin carving contest that I have going on. Remember, there will be a gift card prize to the best carving that gets judged by everyone. I do have two right now, and thanks to my mother and my niece Ashlyn for wanting to be the first ones to have carvings out here. So I will post it at the end of this part of the show. I will drop it in here and show that for you. And then you can see kind of what you're dealing with and what you're going to do. So the pumpkin carving contest is definitely for anyone and everyone is interested in carving a pumpkin, especially for this Halloween. And post your pictures. You can send it to me either on Facebook or you can drop it into the comments on the YouTube channel, my YouTube channel. And you can send me an actual photo of it in some other way, shape, or form, and I will take it. So that's for the pumpkin carving. I'm still looking for one or two people to join my pumpkin beer panel. I have a couple of people from remotely, my cousin Jesse and Candace. Hi Candace, it's been a while. And my brother and my neighbor James, two door down James, of the James and Zyda fame. And so I will be getting them a list this week of the beers that I am going to be getting. And what we're hoping is that for Candace and Jesse, we'll be able to find it locally to them. If not, maybe they can get a hold of a couple of their own pumpkin beers and we can go back and forth. So we have about 5 people. I'm looking for one or two more. And that I think that would be really good. So next, anything that people are wanting to talk about outside of politics and religion, I am certainly willing to have someone on to talk about it. I think it's a great idea. I'm always supporting mom and pop locations, so if you have something, certainly let me know, and I will get them on, or I will get him on, or her on, or whoever, the entire business. In fact, now that we've moved to a little bit less issues with COVID, I think I will be able to start now going out and be Javier in the crowd, well, the social distance crowd, and start looking at things. I believe next week I am going to a couple of breweries, and so if you see me out there, give me a shout out. And if you haven't tried the beers, then we'll try that. Certainly try that. So I think that's all I can remember right now as far as items that I wanted to bring up. Pumpkin carving, pumpkin beer panel. I will be doing a special episode on Halloween, so it might be an extra podcast. I haven't decided which way I should go with that yet. And so I might also start doing some how-to videos. I'm hoping to get a woodworker on here possibly next week. I'm going to try to get a hold of him this week. And so a lot of exciting things that are going on. I hope you'll stay with me and continue to watch the show. So now I'm going to take things over to Baker Jav, and he's going to talk a little bit about his orange cherry loaf. So take it away, Baker Jav. Hey everybody, Baker Jav here, once again bringing you another fantastic recipe and a chance for me to try to redeem myself on my baking skills. So today I am bringing you an orange cherry loaf. That's right, an orange cherry loaf. So once again what I did was double the amount. So this is quite complicated for me. So we start with our almond flour. We have some tapioca flour, and then we have ground cinnamon, and we have a little bit of sea salt, just a little bit, not a lot, and some ground ginger. So we put all that is the dry mix. So here's the dry mix. You can see it's dry mix. So in the wet mix, we go with eggs, honey. I actually have locally sourced clover honey. Vanilla extract, almond extract, coconut oil, and orange zest, and finally orange juice. And by the way, this was fresh squeezed orange juice, by the way. I'm using Cara oranges, or Cara. I'm not sure how that's pronounced, but I'm going to go with Cara oranges. And so we'll see how that does. So you put all the wet ingredients together, and then you are going to add the dry to your wet. That's my oven. It's set for 350 degrees. And I am going to grab my trusty spatula, and I'm going to start adding the dry mix to the wet, which is what they say to do. So I'll start adding that in, grab some more of that. So I hope you've been enjoying the podcast and everybody that I've been interviewing and everything. Just a quick reminder, as I do everywhere, I'm still looking for people for the pumpkin carving contest, and I'm still looking for people for the pumpkin beer panel. So if you or someone you know is interested in participating in that panel, or participating in the pumpkin carving, please feel free and reach out to me. You can get me on by adding a comment to the podcast. You can get me on Facebook if you have me on Facebook. You can get me just about anywhere. If you have my number, you can give me a text. So here I am adding all the ingredients together now, and I'm getting it in there, folding it in, seeing how this goes. It looks really wet right now, so I hope I didn't ruin it by putting the double batch in. It says to just basically mix until smooth, so we'll see how it goes. And then we're going to put this in the oven. We're going to cook this for a while. Actually, I'll have to give you the instructions afterwards because it's on my computer and I'm using it right now to video. So if you haven't had an opportunity, you know what, I think I'm going to go back to the whisk because this is pretty wet, and see how this gives me, what this does for me. So as I'm mixing here, I want to give a shout out to everyone who's participated, who's been sending me comments. I appreciate it. I love them. Please continue to do so. As always, shout out to everyone who's looking. If you're looking for someone to, I'm always looking for someone to interview. So if you have a mom and pop place, you have a little bakery, you have a local shop, you bake out of your home, and you sell, then I am interested in interviewing you. So please feel free to reach out to me so I can certainly interview you. So here's the finished product. I'm going to go ahead and put this into bread, into a loaf pan. So you can use a parchment paper that goes up the side of the loaf pan itself. I'm going to cook this. I'm also going to make some mini pumpkin loaves and see how that comes out. Pumpkin loaves, because they're shaped silicone base, shaped like pumpkin, not actually pumpkin. So what I'm also going to do here is I'm going to fold in the cherries. Where do I have those? So fold in the cherries at the end there. Give this a good spraying. There we go. Hopefully I can keep the cherries enough so that they don't just sink to the bottom and I get a little bit of cherry and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and get this ready. I'm going to bake this, and then I'm going to come back and let you know how the loaf comes out. I'm really thinking that this is a good one for me. So everybody wish me luck, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Hey everyone, I know I don't have my hat on, but that's okay. So, baked, done. So the orange loaf turned out really good, and orange loaf with cherry in it. So it turned out really good, and I had, even though I made a double batch, it seemed like I didn't have that much. So what I did was I went and I used my little jack-o'-lantern or pumpkin mold, like I mentioned earlier, and I used that instead. So it filled out exactly. So here is the bread. You just see a little bit of cherry right here, but it's still warm. I just finished cutting some. I took some over to the neighbors. I'll get feedback from them. So I'm going to give it a shot here on pre-recorded TV. What I also did, which I didn't tell you guys, is that I wanted to make sure that I kept it moist. So I brushed on a little lemon liqueur on top just to let it drizzle in. So it called for, the loaf actually called for like a sugar-free drizzle or something like that. But I know that sometimes that sugar, if you go with too much of that sugar, it doesn't really have a decent taste to it. It will make the rest of the whatever you're doing kind of taste kind of funny, especially when you do a drizzle. So I went ahead and just decided to base the top using a brush, like an egg wash brush, and just did liqueur on it. And I did it like 3 or 4 times. So every couple of minutes I'd go back and I'd brush on another one while it was still in the pan. And then I pulled it out of the pan and I pulled the little muffins out and I based them as well with it. And then I let it go a few more minutes, and then I came back and I put some more on there. So it's got about 3 or 4 layers of lemon liqueur on there. Not really enough to get you buzzed or anything, but it has a nice little taste that just adds like a little bit more to it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and have some more. It stayed moist. It's not bad. It's really good for a paleo style loaf. I mean, this is really almond flour, but you can see the consistency is good. It's got the little air bubbles like you kind of get from this type of bread. There's orange in there. You can definitely taste it. I'll get a little bit of the cherry here in a minute. So I'm afraid probably all the cherries settled in the batter. So they're probably all in the muffins, and there barely any in the bread itself. But overall, really good bread. If you'd like to get the recipe for me, I'm going to post it at the end of the podcast. I might even post it right after this video so that you can get to it sooner. And good job, Hav. About time something went right for me baking-wise, so you'll see me again soon. Thanks. Hey, all right. So that was Baking Hav and his version of a paleo keto style orange cherry loaf. So I did get separate confirmation that that was a good loaf, and it turned out really good, especially if you heated it up, if you had it. So if you make the loaf and you want to try it warm, I certainly recommend microwaving it or eat it fresh out of the oven, cut it up and give it out to friends and family while they're there, or heating it up. So it's really good. I highly recommend it. I will also try to get the recipe. I did make modifications, so I will try to get the recipe at the end of the end of this podcast. And so, without further ado, let me show you the pumpkin carving submissions so that you can check it out. So here they are. It's pumpkin carving. Pumpkins. Yeah. Okay, and I'm back. So those are the pumpkin carvings. Thank you, Ma, and thank you, Ashlyn, for being the first two to make a submission. So it's easy as that, people. You just carve or draw on a pumpkin, whatever you want to submit. Submit it to me, and I will get it on the show. And then at the end of the month, I'm going to judge the best pumpkin carved, and I will give out a gift card for that. So now we're going to move into the beer section. This is going to be a really short podcast, by the way. Make it a little bit shorter because I know you don't want to just continually see me the whole time. You like when I have interviews, and since I didn't get one this time, I'm going to make it a little bit shorter. So we're going to move right into the beer portion of the show. And so for those of you who may not have watched, back in about March, at the end of March, right before, like the day before we went into Austin Cedar Park area, went into lockdown, what I wound up doing was I decided I was going to start doing a beer review. Luckily enough, the boutique that I've mentioned many times was open still. I was able to get some beers from them, and I was able to then do a beer review. So once a day, usually at the end of the day, I would grab a beer and show the audience, or what hopefully was the audience. I would record it and show the beer, name the company, and then give my review anywhere from 1 thumb to 10 thumbs up, and tell you a little bit about what my opinion is on the beer itself. So I got a really great background, expanded my palate greatly for the beers that I put on the reviews. So I did that for 100 days. That's right, 100 days in a row. I did one beer a day, and I would give it a rating. So after that is when I decided, and some people gave me some inspiration to do my own podcast, which is why I'm doing this now. So I am going to do something that I've been doing here. So for those of you who are watching it for the first time, I am now into April. And as far as the reviews from back then go, so we're going to move straight into Haphaestus beer, and you'll see the review, and then when we come back, I'm going to have an actual closer to live beer review, and I'm going to grab a beer, and well, when we come back, I'll do that review. So here is Old Hob with the Hephaestus review. Hey everyone, Javier here again. Before I get to my beer, just want to give a shout out again to everybody out at Boutique. Thanks for staying open and keeping up around with our beers. And if you haven't had a chance, go by and say hello to everyone and pick up a couple of beers. They'll even deliver to you on the curb if you call in advance. Anyway, today's beer, and it's a big one, Clown Shoes. Their new beer, Hephaestus. God of the Forge. This is a Russian Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels with espresso. So let's take a look at it. I poured as much as I could into the glass. There it is. Beautiful. You can see some of how dark it is. It's almost chocolatey. Let me have some. Oh, that is good. Really good. You can really just a little hint of the bourbon from the barrels in there. Definitely has a coffee taste to it. Good, little bit of a coffee smell as well to it. Really good. In fact, I'm gonna go out on this one and I'm gonna give us 5 on this one and 5 on that one. And so we'll do this again tomorrow. Thanks. Okay, so I'm back. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually do a current beer, and we'll see what we get from there. I've never had this beer before. I want to thank Boutique for having it available for me. And so here it is. See if I can get that on there. Jinx. That's right, Jinx. And which is really great. It says a sports ball crusher collab for those long days at the court shooting some home runs with the gang. And if you get all that, then you'll know that the little tongue-in-cheek. This is brought to you by the State Fair Brewing Cooperative out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and it's 4.5 ABV. So I'm gonna go ahead and open it up. Nice sound there. Got it going. Here, I'm going to put this down for a minute so I can pour the beer so you can see what it looks like. Looks like I spilled quite a bit of it. Okay, so let me clean up this beer for a minute here. You can tell I'm filming this before a live studio audience as I'm cleaning up as I go. Okay, so I'm back, more volume with this, more audio anyway. We're going to take a look at it. You saw it. It does look very light, so let me see if I can get that there. It does. It's a very light looking beer. Um, it does say, actually I did see on the can that it has yellow number 5, I think it was on there. And so let's give it a shot and see what it is. I'm not sure exactly what beer type this is because I can't really tell from the bottle. So I'm just gonna give it a shot and see what it does. It's very light. It's like I want to say it's like a pilsner or a light lager. Not too bad. It's good. A little tingling on the front end. Not too bad of a finish. I don't really get a lot of taste out of it, so it's not strong, but it's very light and it is kind of refreshing. So that's not bad. Definitely one. This is my first beer of the day, so definitely gonna be good. I'm gonna finish that here after the podcast. So um, I'm gonna go ahead and give that, let's say, 6.5 thumbs up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 thumbs up. Let's make it official that way. I want to thank everybody for watching this shortened podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Um, I will be on again next week. If you are a mom and pop business and you want to get on the show, please drop me a line. I will certainly be more than ready, more than happy to interview you and talk about your business and talk about you and whoever. And I'm hoping that I'll have another baking show next week as well. Always looking for those pumpkin carving, and I'm still looking for 1 or 2 more people for the pumpkin beer panel. So please feel free to comment, suggestions, new things, old things, whatever you want to see on here on my YouTube channel. That's right, you can find me on YouTube while looking for Javier in the Air, and this will be episode 20. And so I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks as we gear up for Halloween. Hopefully I can get some decorations out this year. And if you have a heavily decorated house and you want to make it on the air, please send me a photo of it or a video of it, and I will get it on here certainly without any problem at all. So have a good rest of your Sunday and have a good week, and I will talk to you all again next week. So here's to you. Thanks.